I had not had a voice, and nobody had needed to hear my story, so I'm trusting attempt to fit in when God has obviously made you to stand apart forever be a woman. Did you hear the most recent delicious scoop? It appears to be that Michael B. Jordan is at last finished with all the shameful show that occurred when he was dating Lori Harvey. It's been a hurricane of tattle and hypothesis. Yet Michael has had sufficient. He's chosen to shout out about all that went down, and kid is he not keeping down, yet here's the genuine stunner. It's not Lori he's pointing fingers at, it is Marjorie Harvey, Lori's mom, who is purportedly making every one of the things happen. And applying extreme command over everybody around her. Michael is evidently worn out on being up to speed in the trap of Harvey family show, and is prepared to spill all the tea. We can barely comprehend what disclosures he'll uncover, yet one thing's without a doubt, this shameful section in the Harvey family adventure is a long way from being done. Move in 2021. These two stars were wildly enamored, dazzling fans with their fabulous appearances and heartfelt signals anyway. In June 2022, their relationship took a sensational turn. Everything began when Lori posted a perplexing Instagram story with the obscure message "dump him" composed on the rear of a vehicle's number plate. This post caused a stir and implied that their once ruddy sentiment was hitting a rough fix. Yet Michael B. Jordan wasn't one to accept things without a fight. He had areas of strength for it at his disposal, and released it on a stupendous stage as a melodic visitor on Saturday Night Live. He clarified that he wouldn't let the separation dramatization characterize him. It was a snapshot of win and flexibility for the ideology celebrity, displaying his capacity to transform misfortune into fuel for his inventive shoot. Lovely people. Introducing your melodic visitor for the night. Drake and 21 Savage playing out a tune off of perhaps of the most engaging collection ever, Her Misfortune, as the separation show between Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey heightened. They gave the idea that Lori's folks, including Marjorie Harvey, chose to enter the image, adding fuel to the generally blasting discharge. Their obstruction in the circumstance just raised pressures and drew additional consideration from the general population and media. With the show released, individuals started to voice their perspectives and analysis, especially focusing on Marjorie Harvey. Many blamed her for showing her little girl unfeeling strategies or manipulative procedures in managing connections. Attempt to fit in when God has plainly made you to stand apart forever be a woman and comprehend you are the award. Don't give yourself to anyone that won't be your significant other. Assuming they love you, in the event that they truly care about you, they'll look out for you anyway. The general population became partitioned, with some identifying with Michael and scrutinizing Marjorie's job in the circumstance, while others shielded Lori and her family, proposing that everybody goes through troublesome separations, and it was unreasonable to find fault exclusively on Marjorie. Yet Marjorie's turbulent past is the motivation behind why she is bound to show Lori some unacceptable things. As per reports, Marjorie and Steve at first met in 1990 at a satire club. Love appeared to strike Steve in a split second as he was stricken with Marjorie. From the second he looked at her, the couple started dating, yet their sentiment was fleeting as they chose to tap out only weeks after the fact. It's been recommended that their underlying separation was obviously Marjorie's assumptions about abundance. Clearly, Steve didn't satisfy the monetary guidelines she had imagined for an accomplice around then. Clutch your seats, since there's considerably more going on behind the scenes. It just so happens Steve was crisp out of his marriage with Mary Shackelford, and this stunning disclosure left many thinking about how he could continue on so rapidly following a very long-term responsibility. The entire circumstance appeared to be dubious, yet here's where it gets much juicier. Mary herself uncovered Steve's supposed undertaking with Marjorie. While he was as yet hitched to her, I had not had a voice, and nobody had needed to hear my story. So I'm trusting that ladies who feel deceived, they don't need to feel like they must be that any longer. It required 6 years for me to try and arrive at this point. I would have rather not done. This isn't a seat I need to be in. And making myself clear, I additionally I'm getting some pessimistic criticism too, yet I'm here to take that yes you heard, that right Mary let it all out, and let the cat out of the bag on Steve's alleged treachery. The undertaking bits of hearsay twirled, and it made a buzz in the sensationalist newspapers. And tattle circles individuals couldn't resist the opportunity to contemplate whether Marjorie was the purpose for the end of Steve's past. Marriage, the outrageous circle of drama, added an additional layer of interest to the all-around tangled snare of connections Mary didn't keep down when she blamed Marjorie for being a terrible mother, guaranteeing that Marjorie moved, starting with one accomplice, then on to the next, without really focusing on her own youngsters. Yet that is not it, since Mary proceeds to propose that Marjorie's supposed manipulative ways stretched out past her heartfelt life. She immovably accepts that Marjorie assumed a part in subverting the connection among her and Steve's child Winton, leaving him trapped in their wild, unique Mary, illustrates Marjorie as an expert controller, capitalizing on her leverage to grab her better half, and her natural child away from her. Give me directions that the adjudicator was saying that colder time of year should have been on a trip to his dad. And I was super paralyzed when you realize that the law is being betrayed you. These stunning allegations have left people talking, and fans, isolated some, find it hard to accept that Marjorie, who depicts a picture of effortlessness and class in the public eye, could be able to do such activities. Hypothesis proposes that she might have been associated with her ex's medication managing business, which he depicts to Jim Townsend. Things took a risky turn when the FBI and DEA started researching Marjorie and her then-spouse, who was at that point having to deal with penalties connected with endeavoring to buy an amazing 40 kilograms of cocaine, as the examination unfurled. Higher specialists supposedly indicated to Jim that Marjorie was likewise a suspect in the medication activity. Confronted with the chance of serious results, Jim then chose to figure out an agreement with the DEA, eventually accepting any consequence for drug-related exercises. Anyway, Marjorie kept up with her guiltless picture and said that she had no information on her better half's unlawful undertakings, asserting obliviousness of the dull underside of his exercises. Years after the fact, Jim Townsend was condemned to life in jail in an amazing new development. Anyway, he wound up serving just 26 years on account of an official exoneration from that point. President Barack Obama, any other way, he would have confronted a lifetime in a correctional facility. Now, with a freshly discovered opportunity and a mission at the forefront of his thoughts, Jim has focused on uncovering Marjorie in her supposed dim privileged insights in a detailed account book. Expected disclosures from Jim's book, guaranteed to disentangle the cryptic layers of Marjorie's past, and revealed insight into her supposed contribution in a universe of medications and wrongdoing. You've served north of 20 years, 26, 27 years in jail. You were getting 28 free of you. Included the year I did in the state when I was truly coming up in the game, since you were initially given like a lifelong incarceration without the chance of parole. Presently, you've been out for about 6 years. 6 years in January. In the event the watchers aren't comfortable, you have been chipping away at a book for a long while. It's called Snakes in the Nursery. The explanation I picked that took the book off the hook was truly a direct result of Steve Harvey. And not long after Marjorie petitioned for legal separation when Jim was in prison. And afterward it was fast sufficient that even she continued on toward Jim's cousin Darnell Wood. Yet soon he was likewise busted and was put in the slammer. Not long after Darnell, Marjorie then sealed the deal with Steve Harvey. In the meantime, Steve assumed the job of cherishing stepfather to Marjorie's 3 children, Morgan, Jason, and Lori. Yet that doesn't mean he is the ideal father, since he disregarded his own organic children, Cognac, Carly, and Winton, from their past relationships. As the dramatization whirls around the Harvey family, Marjorie and Steve have agreed with a particular position occupation of doling out relationship counsel to everybody including their own girl Lori strain, is fermenting between the Harvey kids. And the mixed relational intricacy may not be essentially as amicable as it shows up at the focal point. All things considered, is Marjorie Harvey, who apparently has a skill for driving her stepdaughter Lori into the spotlight at each open door. This steady spotlight on Lori's life and vocation has left the other Harvey kin feeling eclipsed. And might we venture to say marginally desirous fans have additionally considered the princess treatment Lori appears to get with Steve Harvey himself, apparently unfit to quit discussing her on-set. Steve's preference is difficult to disregard, whether it's her high-profile dating life or his confidence in her true capacity for an effective future in media outlets. This further powers the disdain and contention among the kin as they witness their stepsister apparently taking off to more prominent levels while they battle to cut their own ways. It is likewise uncovered that Marjorie likes to control, regardless, assuming that is house matters or her little girl's very own relationship. Even the well-before source uncovered that Steve's significant other and exes would clash sporadically in light of the fact that she wears the pants at the Harvey Chateau. And due to Marjorie's outrageous inclusion, Michael B. Jordan had a truly awkward time dating Lori, despite the fact that he cherished her a ton while the entire world wheezed at first. Even Steve was strong of this relationship since he knew Michael and his family. By and by, however, at that point, it began to show like his affections for Michael were changing. Even the fans began to guess that it was Marjorie who was knocking Steve about Michael once.